Alright guys, it's Shalom with the Paradox Gaming Network, and today I'm going to be doing my 30 April Ashes of Creation live stream recap. I'm going to talk about all the good from it, I'm going to talk all the bad about it, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, this one isn't going to be pretty. So I'm going to talk about first and foremost the MMO Progress. We got a little bit of an MMO Progress update, and what we got told is that they successfully had a mayoral election. It worked, it went off fine, the election worked fine, but the magistrate didn't want to spawn. And then when the magistrate did spawn and they sent out a caravan, it went all goofy graphically and they had some problems. And that's why we don't see any progress today. Now, I do want to say that that magistrate concept is a previously unknown mechanic. It's the mayor's node control interface. Instead of it just being a building or a plaque or a menu, it's a person. This brings up an awful lot of questions whether or not you can kill the magistrate and prevent the mayor from making any changes to the nodes. Of course, I've got that question written down now to ask Steven at a later time. But here's my concern with that. They keep talking progress. And honestly, they need to just stop. The majority of the community doesn't believe you, Intrepid. The problem is that what you say is one thing and what you show is another. And this is what I have to deal with all the time, talking to people who've never heard about Ashes, or people who have heard about Ashes that are skeptical about it, or who are outright calling it a scam, and all those things. I get it. I mean, I do honestly get it. As a player and a content creator, I understand that the caravan went wonky, and I understand you don't want to show that. But you talked about having a game mode up, and you talked about a mayor, and you talked about the magistrate, and you talked about his interface, and you showed nothing. If you couldn't make a 30-second clip of the things you were talking about, then stop talking about them. We are at the point now where the proof is in the pudding. If we don't start seeing some stuff, every live stream that we don't see stuff just gets harder and harder. I'm reminded of the episode of The West Wing where Josh says the president has a secret plan to fight inflation. Well, okay, well, what is it? There's no plan. I understand why people are saying there's no MMO, because you don't ever see it. I believe there's an MMO. I've played in Alpha Zero, but I haven't put hands on Alpha Zero in over a year. So next month, if you only have 35 seconds of usable footage, show the 35 seconds of usable footage. Also, I'm going to talk about the APOC Progress statement that they made. They said that the back-end stuff is wrapping up, whatever that means. I mean, that wasn't really a solid statement, but they said something, and these are the sort of things in life that I have to call them out on. Having experience in project management, the last 10% usually takes the longest. I hate this phrase because 10% of the project is 10% of the project time. If it takes more than 10% of the project time, it's more than 10% of the project. What I mean by that, if you're in the last 10% and the last 10% of the project takes 90% of the project time, then you're not at 90%. You're at 10%. I absolutely always hated this. This is an excuse to me. It means you have no idea how long the last piece is going to be. So that's why you're throwing numbers out there. Oh, we're in the last 10%. We're 90% complete. And because that happened early on in the live stream, it sort of set my mindset for the rest of the stream. And I have some other concerns, and I got a lot of concerns. We're going to talk about concerns today. But this is one of the ones from my audience, and I have to address it because, like I said, I work for all of you guys. I work for my YouTube subscribers. I work for my Twitch subscribers. I work for my Twitch followers. And the concern they said was, yeah, they did a monthly live stream, but what happened to those live streams being scheduled on the last Friday of the month? So scheduled to be the last Friday, and this was back in March. They said it's going to be the last Friday, and they kept this schedule all of one time before they had to shift. Now, I will say, Margaret was at a charity event on Friday, and good for Margaret. That's, charity work is charity work. It was her PTO, so that's where she was. Usually I would expect a community marketing lead to switch their PTO if it's the last Friday of the month, but she had made a commitment. But this doesn't change the fact that they missed a marker. They set a marker on the map. We're going to do them on the last Friday of the month. Now, what was stated during the March live stream, remember, I'm big on if you say it before, it's a reason. If you say it after, it's an excuse. So I do want to give them kudos. So I don't know if we're going to swap that date up a little bit or not, leave it not, but maybe we'll have Toast take over. That's what they said on 29 March 2019. Now, they said it in advance, so everyone who's mad that they shifted the live stream, remember, they said it in advance, so it's a reason, not an excuse. What I do want to kind of beat them up on a little bit, not too much, but just a little bit, is that they announced it on the 22nd of April. So they did give you a little less than a week's notice, 5 days notice that they were moving the live stream. So for all the people that think that's a big concern, I'm not gonna hit them on it. But like I said, I work for you guys. I did want to acknowledge. I wanted to acknowledge that one that people had been talking to my ear about. I want to talk about the dev diary, and we saw the building tech video. Now, what I want to say is that the building tech is great. Showing behind the scenes stuff is amazing. It lets you know what they're doing. I love the fact the quote that they said is the design team being able to do one-off houses is a time saver. Means they don't get bottlenecked waiting for the art team, which, you know, hey, I'm building this quest. I didn't realize last month when I put in my requirements list, I need another house. The art team's like, well, you're going to have to wait because you're now priority number 37. A designer being able to go and being able to make their own house to not wait and lose time, that's a good thing. I will say that this video was better and worse than the first one. It was better that it hit more, it showed more, it detailed more. I loved being able to see just the way that they did the quick flips between all the different options. I mean, that was pretty amazing. I feel, being not artistically inclined and not tech savvy, I feel that, you know, with a quick explanation, I could probably sit down and design houses with that tool. But what's worse is that it felt a little rushed to meet an end of the month deadline, which makes me kind of a hypocrite. But so I am saying I would rather you say last week, hey, we're simply running out of month. We're not going to be able to get the dev diary out, but here is something else instead of rushing it. Just say it beforehand and make it a reason. Just don't be late and make it an excuse. But I do have more concerns with that. The original deadline for the game was before 2020. The studio is still building the tools to build the game. Not quite sure if they're still building the tool to build the game or if they're just showcasing it, but definitely watching it twice, it's kind of like you didn't frame it very well that this tool was already in existence. So if you're still building the tools to build the game, then it's literally like having a bunch of carpenters around, waiting for hammers, waiting for lumber, waiting for nails. It starts to bring up concerns. This is one of those things where slow is smooth and smooth is fast, and I would ask Intrepid to slow down, because the way this came off is you're still building the tech to build the game. I do have to say, though, hearing this, I no longer believe that before 2020 was ever a realistic timeline, because as of March, before the creative director letter, it was on time. And it was more than on time, it was ahead of schedule. There was a point where they said they're about 6 months ahead of schedule, and so I didn't understand why we suddenly had this push, but you're still building the tech to build the game. Now again, I don't know if they're still actively building this tech. This tech could have already been built, but the way this video came across was, hey, we're building this tech to build this game. The context of the building video is they're still building the world. So how were you ever on time? We can create in a timely manner. We're building a big world. It's how we get to a timely launch. How much further we have to go. These are all little sound bites that I pulled out, because if systems are being worked on, that's one thing. But if you're still creating the world, that's another. If before 2020 was ever really realistic, you would have assumed that the world was closer to done. Like, the world was done and you were putting the mechanics in the world. If it's May 1st, okay, and you're still building the world, then you were always going to miss before 2020. You were never on time. You were never on schedule. This is one of those live stream videos that, kind of shed a lot of light on, and now it begs a lot of questions of, you got some splaining to do, Lucy. You need to step back up. The next creative director's letter needs to get really clear where you were, where you are, where you never were, where you want to be. I'm beginning to have some other doubts, and that's why, I do these videos and I line things up together. Sometimes people do a reality check for me and you say, no, Jay, you're pretty off. Other times people include stuff with me. PAX East was canceled, but were the reasons given real? Fully funded core viable product. 90% increase in overall staff. 40% increase in the in-house employees. Extra people cost money. The release date is now shifted. APOC is down, so they don't have a major revenue stream. Where is all this extra money coming from? It begs the question of, you want to increase your overall in-house staff by 40%. Steven's, footing the bill for 30 million of this, but if you don't have a revenue stream, but see, and then it becomes APOC was never meant to be a revenue stream. APOC was monetized to offset the additional costs. So again, it just begs to start asking the questions. Can you economically survive a 40% increase in staff size and going an extra possible year before release? So these are where the doubts come in. Okay, enough doubts. Let's talk to Q&A. And again, guys, I didn't have to do this the last couple of times, but I have to do it again. Guys, please do a little research on your questions. You can pop in the Discord. You can bother me. You can go to the wiki. You can get a lot of answers to a lot of these questions. So there's not a lot here today. What I'm going to talk about is Freehold Hamlets. This is back to being a yes. This was previously a yes, and then it was a no, and now it's back to being a yes. Friends can place freeholds next to each other. Well, what about the standoff distance? Do I have to allow somebody to place a freehold next to me? Or so there's a lot of questions. We don't have details, but we know, yes, in theory, you can place a freehold next to each other. Several can be next to each other, and you can make a little hamlet. Does that mean I have to click a box that says allow nearby placement? I don't know. Does this statement make me absolutely happy? Yes, this is probably the most exciting thing for me out of the whole live stream because it means my wife and I can put our freeholds next to each other. Players using the creation tool to build for Intrepid, not on the roadmap before launch, but maybe post-launch. I think this would be kind of cool if they did manage to export the creator tool into a module that players could use. You could have building design contests. Intrepid would be able to leverage the creative people in the community. So I think this is a brilliant idea. Scaling of items when you put in your freehold. Items will have constraints. Obviously, you don't want a plate to be the size of half an acre. It would cause all sorts of issues. Jeff even alluded to that. Player stalls are customizable. This is actually really cool. This was in the original version of Final Fantasy XIV before they had to reboot it and they changed the way the market worked. So you're going to have flags that show your wares for sale. That was probably one of my favorite features of the original Final Fantasy XIV. Your player stall, just the way they executed it was badly. Everybody could have one. Player stalls in Ashes are going to be a limited commodity. They talked about the node growth. The way it currently is when the node pops, it pops to a new level. But the ideal state is that there'll be a 1 to 2 hour period of building up the node, and NPCs would appear and they would be doing work, and you would see that. Obviously, if they can get to that ideal state before launch, great. If that ideal state has to happen post-launch, that's one of those things. It's a nice to have. If we can have it, great. If we have to wait, if that's a quality of life improvement after launch, I'd be good with that too. Ship content, this was another thing they talked about. We've only talked about the naval content a couple of times, but you're constantly going to be upgrading your ship. As the harbor grows, you can make your ship better. I really like that feature, unlike ArcAge, which is the other game with like the premier naval content. ArcAge, you can reach a maximum state really early on. You can buy all the parts. It's not a gradual increase. I like the idea of you having to go to a specific harbor to make your ship a specific way. I really kind of like that feature. So probably my second most exciting thing that came out of this live stream. All right, guys, and that is it for today. I know I beat up on Intrepid a lot today, but the only way that they can stay honest is if they have somebody holding the measuring stick next to them and saying, hey, you're not quite meeting the bar. And remember, guys, if we lower the bar to 85, then 85 becomes the new goal. We want to keep the goal above 100, so when they miss the goal, they still are above 100. If you guys want to know more about Ashes of Creation, swing by ashes101.com. I'm constantly working on it and tweaking it. The PvP nodes and caravan sections are pretty up to date. Lots of information there. If you guys want to know more, you can get me at Jalon #0001 or swing by my Discord if you want to have a conversation off the official Discord. I stream 3 times a week, so you can pop in, even if I'm not streaming Ashes, because nobody is right now because it's down and I don't stream the launcher. You can ask me anything you want to know. Your question will get answered as it comes in. And as always, big thanks to my sponsors. Without my sponsors, I couldn't give away money. Right now in the description below, there is a gift card giveaway. Go ahead and click on that. Get yourself a gift card. I think I'm going to be doing something for Ashes of Creation when we get to 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. I think I'm going to give away a $75 gift pack. I got a little bit of extra money piled up from my sponsors, so I think that's where that's going to go. All right, you guys take care. I want to cut this and get it up, and I'm expecting a lot of controversy in the comments below, so let's get to the discussion. You guys take care.
Hey, where are you going? You're not done yet. See these videos? There's videos up here to watch. You gotta go over here. Hit the chibi. Subscribe to the channel. Check out the webpage. And I'll see you guys on Twitch.